Hey, this is Notes from a Drama Watcher, episode 43. I am recording my podcast from elsewhere today. That's why the intro is missing. Just a reminder, this is your host. Welcome if you're new and welcome back if you've been here before. And also another reminder, there are spoilers in this podcast. Today's podcast, we're just going to do a wrap up of what has been my two favorite series so far for 2024. And that is Every You, Every Me, which had its finale, and Jack and Joker, which also had its finale. So I say so far because Spare Me Your Mercy is slated to come out at the end of November. So we'll see how that goes. That one is from the mind of one of my favorite, probably my favorite BL drama, which is Manner of Death. So I'm expecting good things from Spare Me Your Mercy. So anyway, let's get right into it. I'm going to start off talking about Every You, Every Me. This is episodes 5 through 8. As I said, it did have its finale. It was only an 8-episode show. So episode 5, in this episode, the story shifts to a new dynamic with Top playing Cyan and Mick playing Blue. Green, who is Blue's younger brother, wants guitar lessons, and in a moment of drunken despair, Cyan agrees to teach him. However, when Blue finds him, he initially tries to back out of the arrangement, but after being baited by Blue, he eventually agrees to teach Green. This creates tension between Blue and Cyan, and neither of them gets off to a good first impression with the other. As the episode progresses, a clear chemistry begins to build between Cyan and Blue, despite their rocky start. Cyan, who is more brash and openly flirtatious, becomes increasingly attracted to Blue. And while Blue is initially skeptical, he soon finds himself engaging in a playful banter and flirting with Cyan. However, both characters have some unresolved issues and baggage that complicate their budding connection. Cyan, character played by Top, is haunted by dreams of his former partner, James. And while Blue is evasive about phone calls from someone whose identity is unclear, this just creates a whole bunch of tension. These emotional layers add depth to their growing attraction, and they hint at the troubled past that could shape their future interactions, and in fact does shape their future interactions. The episode is notable for how both Top and Mick have fully transformed into their new characters. Remember, this is, I guess, their fourth set of characters at this point. Top, who previously played the soft and reserved Namping in episodes 3 and 4, now portrays Cyan, a more bold and flirtatious character, and he's often seen lifting weights and exercising, and he's doing all this in front of Blue as if he's trying to catch his attention. It's a very, pulling pigtails behavior for little kids. Meanwhile, Mick's portrayal of Blue showcases a more guarded and skeptical personality, and it's very distinct from his previous role. His previous role, X, who the mechanic in episodes 3 and 4, was not open because he was shy to show his feelings, but you could see on his face what he was feeling, that he was totally gone for Namping. So this role of Blue is more guarded. You don't see everything he's feeling on his face like that. Their performances in these characters highlight their versatility and their ability to embody completely different characters. By the end of the episode, the mysterious person, Pukan, who's the one who's been calling and trying to contact Blue, shows up at Cyan's house, and Cyan admits to picking up her call because he was curious as to who she was, because he kept seeing that Blue was ignoring these phone calls. Though he apologizes over and over, Blue's clearly hurt and opts to leave, and what was until this point a somewhat fluffy episode ends on a very angsty note. Episode 6 concludes the story of Cyan and Blue, where we learn exactly what Blue's conflict with Fukan was. She turns out to be an old friend that he had wronged, and his guilt was keeping him away from her. He seems to be someone who, although he confronted Cyan in the beginning, and that's how their relationship sort of started, he does seem to be someone who avoids confrontation, right? He doesn't answer her calls when she's trying to contact him to clear the air. And at the end of episode 5, where Cyan is apologizing him for crossing the line and, basically invading his privacy, he doesn't really respond and explain any of what's going on. He just chooses to leave. So he's someone who avoids confrontation. So after Fukan finally gets to talk to him and they clear the air, it's now his turn for Blue and Cyan to clear the air between them, and for Cyan to tell Blue a little about his past and why he was such a hurt soul when they first met. And the episode finishes about halfway, I would say, and then we get into our next story. So actually, before we get into the next story, though, they show Cyan, who was a guitar player, singer, sings the song from the OST, Every Tear, and you see the flashbacks of all the things they've sort of been through together. And that song, so there's 3 songs, I think, so far on this from this OST, because there was a different song that was in the ending credits, I believe, of the last episode. But Every Tear is such a beautiful song. Sin has a gorgeous voice. I am not joking when I say that I have been playing that song over and over ever since I first heard the song. And it's absolutely something that I will continue to listen to, way after I've gone on to other dramas. So like I said, about midway through episode 6, it fades to black. And then we get on to our next story, which, as it turns out, is the true story of this series. And that is the story of our actor Pun, played by Top, and In, another actor played by Mick. They are the actors that have been portraying all of these roles we've seen up until this point. So episodes 7 and 8 brings us the ups and downs of their relationship, and we learn how they fell in love over the course of their work together as they played the various characters in their movies. And I've been following the Instagram and Twitter account for the show, and on there they explain that these characters they played are all very different from each other, which, you can see as you watch. But the actors In and Pun are in some ways an amalgam of all those characters, and I can totally see this. It becomes clear in these last 2 episodes that these two, though they love each other, need time apart. Their love is so wrapped up in playing these characters that they haven't had a chance to simply be together, doing all the things that regular couples do and just being together in the normal everyday ways that happen in life. We do get a breakup, and it's heartbreaking. But as we see in a flashback, it's actually done for a reason, and it allows them to grow as individuals, independent of one another. And this makes them that much more certain when they do eventually get back together. A great example of this is when In finally proposes to Pun. It's not done in some grand, flashy scene. It's a regular morning where they get up together and they have breakfast together. And In is just looking at Pun and realizing that this is what he wants his mornings to be like for the rest of their lives. Just this series of little moments together. The emotions in this moment feel very real and really feel like a culmination of everything they went through over the years. And I think it's actually really beautiful because of that. So this is a show that I had really been anticipating all year, ever since I saw the pilot. And they actually did keep pretty close to the pilot, almost exactly. The characters of Pun and In, their names were different in the pilot. And there's a breakup scene that occurs, I believe it's in episode 6, that was also shown in the pilot, and it's acted in a different way. It's a little more, in the pilot, it's a little more, I don't want to say violent. It's not really the word I'm going for. A little more aggressive, I don't know. And it's much more sad when they film it in the show. I actually think that's better, the way they changed it. I'm going to chalk that up to the director's choice. I don't know actually anything about this director for this show. I don't know if she's directed other things. So I just said she. I did see online that I believe it was from their Twitter account, actually, the show's Twitter account. In the episode it's episode 7, where they are doing a workshop together, Pun and In are doing a workshop together. The woman directing the workshop apparently is the actual director of Every You, Every Me. So that was a nice Easter egg there. I have to say, I think she made some good choices during the show. I don't know how much is up to her and how much is up to whoever the screenwriter was, but I don't think anything really in this show that I would change, except to make it longer, because with this type of storyline, you could go on, but how long, forever with this, because since they're portraying different characters, you can just keep having them with different roles. But it was a very tight show. Like, there wasn't wasted time. Some of these episodes, they accomplish more in one episode than other shows do in 10 or 12. Some shows just drag on forever. I talked about in my last podcast, Lovely Writer I keep saying Lovely Writer, Battle of the Writers after episode 6 started to kind of meander. And you didn't get that here in Every You, Every Me. There was kind of no wasted time. Everything we were shown seemed very necessary to us understanding these characters' motivations and feelings and understanding why they separated and how it made them stronger and they were able to come back together. So the directing was great. The screenwriter, that was a great script. The actors, amazing. I've seen both of them, of course, because I saw them in the My Universe series, but I don't know. They haven't done a lot. They have done other things, but it's not like they've been acting for years and years and years and years. And they seem like such veterans in this role. it's really difficult when you think about what they had to do, right? Because when you're doing a show and it's 10, 12 episodes and you're just playing the same character in all the episodes, it's still taking a long time to do the workshops and to get the chemistry right and to get to know each other. Here, they're playing completely different. They're playing 4 different sets of characters. So it's a lot. It's a lot for them to show the nuances, the differences between the characters. I mentioned before, at the end of episode 4, we saw Top and Mick playing 2 different characters, and little things like the way Top brushes back his hair showed what a difference there was between Namping and Pun. So I just think their acting was so good in this, and I really hope to see them in future projects. I don't know if they'll work together necessarily. I would love it if they did, because I think their chemistry is absolutely amazing. But even if they don't work together, I would love to see them in other things, because we've just seen that they've got amazing acting ability between the 2 of them. Also, whoever the stylist was on this show, the actors, the characters looked amazing. They all looked very different from each other. Namping was beautiful. As Sun, Top looked completely different. As Perinth, he looked completely different. That whole, with the suits and First with the suits, they looked all very different from each other, looked all good. I don't know how much money this company had to make this show, because I believe it's a new company who made the show, but nothing looked cheap. Everything looked good. So I loved this show, and it's absolutely something that I would rewatch again, and that I would recommend to anyone to watch, especially someone who wants to see something different, who doesn't want to see another university show or a high school show or whatever. This is definitely something different they can watch. And I feel like it's unlike anything I've seen up until this point. And I really hope we get more experimental stories like this. So kudos to Top and Mick, kudos to director, screenwriter, to everyone involved in this show. They should be really proud of what they did. It's just a wonderful show. And like I said, I would totally rewatch it again. The other show that I've been watching is Jack and Joker, which also finished. I guess that's also like one of my favorite shows of the year so far anyway. So I'm going to talk about episodes 9 through 12. So episode 9, Joke as usual is totally invested in making sure that Jack gets free from the boss. He makes an agreement with the boss to steal a ring from the 4 horsemen, and this ring essentially gives him authority over criminal elements in the area. Jack, Arun, Tattoo, and Hoy embark on another one of their schemes to steal a ring from the 4 horsemen. While Joke is hiding away, trying not to get caught, he overhears Jack and Rosé talking, where Jack admits he does not reciprocate Rosé's feelings, but that he has feelings for someone else. You see that Joke realizes that maybe he's not alone in feeling what he does for Jack. And by the end of the episode, Jack finally comes clean and confesses to Joke. We also get to see, as I had said before, I never thought Rosé was a bad person. She's just a little silly and naive, but we really see it here. She accepts what Jack is saying. She's heartbroken, she's got like a schoolgirl crush almost, though she's not a schoolgirl, but she accepts what he's saying and even says like they should remain friends. In episode 10, there's a lot of sweetness as Jack and Joke become closer, and Jack asks Joke if he ever thought about having a family, but Joke doesn't feel he would make a good dad, which is understandable because his relationship with his father has not been good up until this point. Although I maintain that's not because of Joke. That's really more on the dad side, because the dad just pressured him, I think, a lot and didn't treat him very well. Later on, after this, Toy Ting comes to the house crying because her father left her a note saying he was going up north to work, and so she's been abandoned. And we see how Joke handles that situation, and we know that he would be a good dad. He hugs her, he reassures her, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, I wonder if there was anyone to hug him in such a way when he was younger. I actually had sent out a tweet a while ago, and one of the questions I had was whether or not Joke had an undiagnosed learning disability, because he's not good at school, and it's something he doesn't want to be. We had seen a previous flashback of him crying as he's trying to do his English work. And in episode 10, they've reopened the school, and he's trying to teach the kids some math, and he can't do it. And I really do wonder if he has I don't know the education system in Thailand. I don't know how easy or difficult it is to get evaluated if necessary. But I can almost see his dad sort of not even getting him evaluated and just ignoring that he's having these issues and chalking it up to stubbornness. So it just really made me wonder Was there anyone to hug him? Was there anyone to reassure him when he was a kid? As I said, they do get to open the school, and Joke's father does show up because he's been invited by Jack. And that was a sweet scene between them. They finally sort of reconcile. Joke accepts his father's apology and says they did the best they could. I'm not too sure about that. I still have issues with Joke's dad, but you do see that he is trying. Joke takes the chance to introduce his father to what Joke calls his family, which is Jack and Toiting. Boss has continued to make his power plays during this whole time, and he sends Carbon to terrorize the children in the school in a moment when Joke and Jack and everyone are away. And during this, Toiting is gravely injured by Carbon, and the episode that began so sweetly ends on a breathtaking note. Episode 11 brings the rift between Jack and Joke after Joke reveals that he was the one who stole the ring and gave it to the boss, causing Boss to go on this power trip. Their reactions to the crisis take different forms, with Joke breaking down in the hospital and Jack going on a rampage at the boss's office, and they spend most of the episode separated from one another. Jack in his grief had told Joker he never wanted to see him again, and Joke says his goodbyes to Grandma when he goes to pick up their things. His things at their house, but unbeknownst to him, Carbon is there and kidnaps him. Boss is the definition of absolute power corrupts absolutely, as he is now just kidnapped on a kidnapping spree. He kidnaps Rose, he kidnaps Save, and Joke. And even though he spoke out of anger and despair, there's no way that Jack is going to leave Joke in Boss's clutches, and episode 12 sees him team up with Tattoo, Hoy, Aaron, and Hope to save the three who have been kidnapped by Boss. And that's basically what happens in episode 12. Of course, we get our happy ending. They're able to save the day. In the meantime, Jack and Joke reconcile with each other because obviously Jack was very angry and does not really want Joke gone from his life. There's a lot of action that goes on in episode 12. You can see that Ian had worked really hard on getting ready for these action scenes. Some things don't look 100% believable. I don't think he's a years-long expert in martial arts, but it looks good enough. A few times, I feel like when he was hitting someone, quote unquote, like the hits didn't quite connect, but it was still fun to watch Jack just kicking butt, on his way to saving Joke. I really enjoy Jack and Joker a lot overall. I do feel a little bit conflicted about enjoying Jack and Joker, not because of the show itself. I thought it was well made. They obviously poured money into it. They had different sets on the show. As I said, Ian had to have practice his martial arts so he could play this convincing character. The other side characters, Tattoo, Hoy, Aaron, were all a delight. I can't believe Aaron. I think he's one of my favorite characters by the end of the show, actually. And we see in the last episode, they've always sort of been hinting at Tattoo and Aaron, but haven't done anything about it. I wish they had, but they hinted enough at the end that you were like, oh, maybe these two eventually will get together. So that was cute. And again, I like this for some of the same reasons that I liked Every You, Every Me. I like that it's something different. GMM TV lately, it's a lot of high school, not lately, but it's a lot of high school and university shows. And that's fine because I watch GMM TV as much as the next person, but I also like to see something different at the same time or have the different options as well. So I'm glad that there are other companies that are doing other things, trying different things and giving us these different types of shows. I don't know when the next time is that we will see Yin and War doing a show together. This is their own company that did Jack and Joker. So obviously, if they do anything else, they'll have to raise funds, etc. If they get sponsors, if they do another show. So it may take a while, but I enjoyed watching it. I did not watch Love Mechanics when it came out. I had seen End of Love to Sarah. I think I mentioned it before, but I had not seen Love Mechanics. So I really had not seen Yin and War and didn't really know much about them. So I've been enjoying getting to know them, quote unquote, as well. I don't really know them, but I started following their Instagram, and strangely enough, War's pottery videos have become like my safe space in recent weeks because of things that have been going on in the US. But it's been fun. It's been fun getting to see their Instagram and getting to know them. And for whatever reason, War's dog just cracks me up because of his facial expressions. And I just found out his dog has his own Instagram as well. So it was also a good show. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it as well. My conflicted feelings I was mentioning before I got on a tangent is that Every You, Every Me, I feel has completely gone under the radar for a lot of people. They have no idea what a treasure that show is. And part of it is because they don't have big names, in the cast, I guess. Some people know Mick from La Cuisine, but it's not a big name as like Yin War. And also it's a new company that's doing the show as well. But also Every You, Every Me started after Jack and Joker had already started. Again, that Every You, Every Me was only 8 episodes. Jack and Joker is 12 episodes. So I think there are people that just maybe are not aware of Every You, Every Me. I'm hoping that now that Jack and Joker is finished and people are looking for something new to watch, that Every You, Every Me will pick up some of those viewers. But I think it unfortunately kind of got overshadowed. I mean, not only was Jack and Joker on, but then Perfect 10 Liners started with all of their cast that, a lot of people are watching. So Every You, Every Me has been unfortunately flying under the radar. But seriously, if you have not seen Every You, Every Me and you're looking for something to watch, really, honestly, check out the show. It's, again, only 8 episodes, so totally bingeable. But we're ending 2024, I feel like, on a really good note with these shows. I had mentioned before I hadn't done a podcast in a while because I just wasn't really watching anything. There was nothing kind of exciting me, But these shows definitely, for me, are the highlights of 2024, Every You, Every Me, and Jack and Joker. And I'm really, really looking forward to Spare Me Your Mercy. I'm expecting good things from that show. But anyway, thank you for joining me for this podcast. Again, if you haven't checked out either one of these shows, please take the opportunity to. So Jack and Joker are on iQIYI, and Every You, Every Me was the uncut versions are on Gaga Ulala and WeTV. However, they are now uploading cut versions to YouTube. So it is free. So you go check it out on their channel. Every You, Every Me is the name of the channel. So thanks for joining me. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday and stay safe, everyone.